I'll start with a short story for the warm-up. I live in Samara, and there's a pretty famous spot here called Prostokvashino, a small park near the train crossing. There's a narrow path that cuts right through it, and lots of people use it as a shortcut so they don't have to walk around by the roadway. Sometimes I walk through it too, especially when I'm going home late after work. One evening, it was already getting dark, maybe around 10 or 11 p.m. I was walking through this shortcut as usual. The street is quiet, almost nobody around. I had headphones in, just minding my own business. Suddenly, for no reason, this strong feeling hits me, like someone is watching me from behind. You know that instinctive, cold pressure on the back of your neck? I turned around but didn't see anyone. I kept walking, but the feeling wouldn't go away. It even got stronger. The silence felt wrong, heavy. And then, out of nowhere, a woman's voice spoke right next to my ear, like she was standing literally behind my shoulder. She said very softly, almost whispering, "Don't go there." I jerked hard and turned around, but there was absolutely no one behind me, just an empty path and trees. I ripped my headphones out and stood still for a couple seconds, listening. Nothing. No footsteps, no rustling, no movement. At first I decided I was just tired and imagining things, but that voice, it wasn't like a thought or inner monologue. It sounded external, spatial, real, as if someone was actually standing there. I didn't go forward. I slowly backed out of the path, walked the long way around the park, and only when I reached the lit street again did that heavy feeling finally disappear. The next morning, I found out through local chats that the same night, just a little further down that shortcut, a drunk guy got stabbed, literally right around the time I was walking there. This story happened to me personally. Back then I was dating a girl. We both had part-time jobs and our schedules didn't match at all. I usually came home late in the evening, completely exhausted. One day I came home especially tired and immediately knocked out, fell asleep without even changing clothes. I remember lying face down on the bed. While I was sleeping, I felt like she came over to me and gently hugged me from behind. You know that half-awake state when you don't open your eyes yet, but you already feel everything? Warm arms across your chest, someone breathing at your shoulder, the mattress shifting under their weight, everything felt very real. I thought she had come home early and crawled into bed with me, so I smiled a little and just lay there enjoying the warmth. Then she whispered softly, "Why are you still awake?" I was confused because I wasn't awake at all. I was barely even conscious. I turned slightly and tried to answer, and at that exact moment my phone rang. A loud notification sound from across the room. The arms instantly disappeared. The warmth was gone, the mattress unweighted, and I suddenly realized I was alone in the apartment. I sat up on the bed instantly, heart racing, fully awake, and looked around. Empty room. No one had opened the door, no sounds of anyone leaving. I grabbed my phone. The message was from her. She had just texted that she was still at work and would come home late. I didn't sleep again after that. The strangest thing? That hug, the body heat, the weight on the bed, it felt absolutely physical, not like a dream or hallucination. I still remember that sensation perfectly. This happened a few years ago, long before I moved to another city. I was renting a small apartment back then. The building itself was very old, the kind where the wooden floors creak even from light footsteps, and the neighbors' sounds travel through the walls like they're made of paper. At first, everything was normal, but after a couple of months, small strange things started happening. So small, I ignored them at first. For example, I'd leave a cup on the table and later find it a little to the side, or I'd put my keys near the door and later they'd be on the kitchen counter. Nothing big, just enough to make me think I was spacing out. But over time, it became more noticeable. Sometimes at night, I would wake up suddenly, not from a noise, not from a dream, just like something pulled me out of sleep. Every time this happened, I'd feel that someone was in the room with me. Not touching me, not speaking, just watching, like a presence pressing on the air. It was the kind of silence that feels aware. One evening, I came home completely worn out from work, ate something quick, and crashed into bed early. I fell asleep almost instantly. In the middle of the night, I woke up because I heard floorboards creaking in the hallway. Very slowly, step by step, as if someone was walking toward my room. Not fast, not panicked, just calmly approaching. I lay there frozen, listening. Then the footsteps reached my bedroom door and stopped. The silence after that was worse than the sound. I couldn't even turn my head. I just stared at the dark doorway. A few seconds later, the mattress behind me sank slightly, like someone sat down at the edge of the bed. That feeling was so distinct it made my stomach drop. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear breathing. But the weight was absolutely real. The fabric even pulled slightly toward that side. I don't know how long I lay like that. Maybe a minute, maybe 5. And then, with the same light shift, the weight slowly lifted, as if that something stood back up and walked away. The next morning, I checked the hallway. Nothing unusual. Door still locked. Everything in place. But after that night, I moved out as soon as my contract ended. I don't know what was in that apartment, but I swear I was not living there alone. This one wasn't mine. I read it on Devach, but it stuck in my head because of how real it sounded. There was a guy who lived in a typical panel apartment block. His bedroom window faced a children's playground in the yard. Nothing unusual. A couple of benches, slides, sandbox, the regular stuff. One summer night, he couldn't sleep and was just scrolling on his phone in a dark room. The window was open because of the heat. At some point, he heard quiet laughter outside, like a child giggling. He thought it was weird because it was already past 1 a.m. and no one lets little kids out that late. But the giggling continued, soft, playful, like someone was having fun. He stood up and looked out the window. Down in the yard near the sandbox stood a little girl in a white dress. She had her back turned to him. She wasn't doing anything, just standing motionless facing the sandbox. The giggling stopped the second he noticed her. He leaned a little closer to the window to see better. Maybe some neighbor's kid had slipped outside. But the longer he looked, the stranger it felt. She was just too still, like a mannequin. He took out his phone to use its flashlight, pointed it down, and right in that moment, the girl tilted her head slowly to the side, as if listening. But she didn't look up, didn't turn around, just that unnatural head tilt. He froze. Then she tilted her head in the other direction, slowly, too slowly, like something was testing how it feels to move. Not like a kid, not like a person at all. The guy said he suddenly felt the strongest instinctive fear of his life, the kind that doesn't come from imagination, but from something ancient and primal that tells you, don't look at that thing, don't let it see you. He stepped back from the window, and right then the girl jerked her head straight upward, unnaturally fast, like she had been aware of him the whole time. She didn't have a face, just pale skin, smooth where the features should be. A blank oval. He slammed the window shut so hard that the glass rattled, dropped the blinds, and didn't go near the window until sunrise. In the morning, the sandbox was empty. No traces of footsteps, nothing unusual. But for the next few weeks, every night around 1-2 a.m., he would hear soft giggling from the yard again. But he never looked out the window after that. This story is also from Devach, but the way it was written, it felt too personal to be fake. There was an Anon who lived alone after his father passed away. His mom had died years earlier, so it was just the two of them before that. When the father died, the apartment felt empty in a very strange way. Not just lonely, but like something was missing from the air itself. At first, the guy handled it fine. Grief, paperwork, sorting through belongings, routine. But then small things started happening around the apartment that made him uncomfortable. Whenever he walked past his father's old room, which he kept closed, he kept getting this inexplicable feeling that someone was sitting inside behind the door, not moving, not making noise, just waiting. He tried to tell himself it was just his imagination. One evening, he decided to finally open that room and pack his father's things. He turned the handle and immediately froze. The air inside the room felt wrong, heavy, thick, like stepping into a place that hasn't seen sunlight in years, except the curtains were open. Nothing was moved, nothing touched, just an ordinary room. He He forced himself to start sorting clothes. At some point, he sat on the edge of the bed to rest, right where his father used to sit when getting dressed. And then, out of nowhere, the mattress shifted slightly behind him, like someone sat down next to him. Not a loud jump, not an illusion. The mattress sank exactly the way it does when a real person sits down. He didn't turn his head, didn't look, didn't breathe. He said that in that moment he knew it was his father, not metaphorically, but literally there beside him. Not comforting him, not visiting, not a spirit. Just present the way a living person would be. And then a horrible thought came to him, one that he couldn't get out of his head after. If I turn and look, what if it won't look like him? He stayed frozen for almost a full minute until the pressure on the mattress slowly eased, like whoever sat there got up and walked away. After that day, he could no longer enter that room at all. He eventually sealed it off and only reopened it before selling the apartment. He said the scariest part wasn't the presence, but the feeling that whatever was there didn't care that he was afraid, didn't care that it was dead, and didn't even recognize the barrier between alive and not alive. Just something that used to be human, continuing to sit. Because that's what he could do. This happened in a small village, and Anon was visiting his relatives there for the summer. The village was tiny, no streetlights, just a few scattered houses and long dirt roads leading between fields. One night he couldn't sleep and decided to go outside to get some fresh air. It was completely dark, the kind of darkness where the sky is visible, but everything on the ground disappears unless the moon is bright. He stood near the gate, just listening to the night sounds, crickets, wind in the grass, distant dogs barking every now and then. Nothing unusual. After a minute or two, he heard footsteps from down the road. Slow, steady, coming toward him. He thought maybe someone else couldn't sleep and was walking home late. The footsteps kept getting closer, but he couldn't see anyone. Just an empty, dark road. He squinted, trying to make out a silhouette. Nothing, but the footsteps were definitely close now. No echo, no trick of acoustics, like a real person walking on dry dirt. He felt tense, but waited. Then the footsteps reached the gate and stopped right in front of him. No breathing, no figure, no shadow, just the distinct feeling that something was standing directly there. He stepped back slowly, heart racing. After a couple seconds of silence, the footsteps started again, now going past him, moving along the fence as if someone had just walked by, except there was no one. He said the worst part wasn't the sound, it was that instinctive sensation of physical closeness, like when a body passes near you and you can feel the subtle displacement of air. When it passed him, he felt a cold wave brush his shoulder, like the space beside him briefly became colder by several degrees. The footsteps continued further down the road and faded into silence. He didn't go outside at night again after that. This was told by a guy who used to work late shifts and often returned home after midnight by bus. One night he caught the last route of the evening, almost empty inside, just him and a few people scattered apart. It was one of those old city buses with dim yellow lighting and long rattling stops. He sat near the window, half asleep, watching the dark streets go by. Nothing unusual at first. At one of the stops, the doors opened and someone got on. He didn't look immediately, just registered footsteps approaching down the aisle. But then something about those footsteps made him look up. The person who boarded wasn't walking right. The movement was off. Not like they were injured, not like they were drunk, more like the body was copying human motion without understanding it. Too stiff, too delayed, as if each step was being consciously calculated. The figure stopped in the middle of the bus and just stood there, not sitting down. The driver closed the doors and continued driving. After a few seconds, the figure slowly turned its head, unnaturally slow, scanning the bus row by row. The guy said at first he couldn't even understand what was wrong until he realized the figure wasn't looking at people. It was counting them. He tried not to make eye contact, just stared out the window. But then he noticed the bus had become completely silent. No engine hum, no rattling, no air brake sounds, just dead, heavy stillness, like the world muted itself. He risked one more glance and froze. The figure was now facing him directly, not moving, not blinking, just standing there, head slightly tilted, like it had selected him. He couldn't see its face clearly, but what he could see didn't look right. The proportions were somehow wrong, like the features were placed there but not connected to real expression. A face that understood the shape of being human, but not the life behind it. Then the figure took one step toward him. Just one. And the guy said that step felt like the world itself leaned toward him, like a pressure wave. He panicked and yanked the cord to request a stop, even though the bus wasn't near one. The driver didn't react at first. He yanked it again, and this time, the bus suddenly lurched as if waking up, braking abruptly. The moment the doors opened, he jumped out without looking back and started walking as fast as he could in the opposite direction, heart hammering. The bus stood still for a few more seconds behind him before finally closing the doors and leaving. He never saw that thing step off. He says to this day he still thinks that if he hadn't pulled the cord, if he had just sat there frozen a moment longer, that thing would have come right up to him, and there would be nowhere to run. This one happened during a hiking trip. A small group of friends went into the forest for the weekend. Nothing extreme, just camping with a tent, a small fire, and an overnight stay near a clearing by a lake. Everything was normal during the day. Cooking, jokes, swimming, taking photos. Toward evening, they built a fire and sat talking until late at night. Around 2 or 3 a.m., everyone got sleepy and went to the tent. At some point during the night, one of the guys, the Anon telling the story, woke up because he heard someone calling his name from outside. Not shouting, calling, in a friendly tone, like a friend trying to quietly get his attention without waking the others. The voice sounded exactly like one of the guys from their group. He sat up and listened. Again, same voice, same tone. Hey, come here. Not urgent, not threatening, not whispering, just inviting. Like someone waiting near the fire. The Anon thought one of the friends couldn't sleep and wanted to talk, so he got dressed and crawled out of the tent. The campfire had burned down to embers. Nobody was sitting there. He looked around the clearing, no movement. Then he heard it again. The exact same voice, but now coming from deeper in the forest, past the tree line. Come here. Same intonation, same pauses. Not like someone repeating words, but like a recording playing the same emotional pattern. He felt uneasy and called out, "Why the hell are you there? Come here instead." Silence. Then from even deeper in the trees, "Come here." But this time the tone changed ever so slightly, stretched, too slow, like something was trying to imitate human speech but didn't understand the rhythm correctly anymore. The fear hit him instantly. He backed toward the tent without turning his back to the forest. As he reached the flap, the voice called one more time, now much closer again, as if it had easily moved back toward the clearing without footsteps. "Come here." Except now, it didn't sound like his friend at all. The voice broke halfway through, like a bad copy glitching mid-sentence. He dove into the tent, zipped it shut, and shook his friend awake. The friend he thought was calling him was still asleep, hadn't moved all night. They both stayed awake until sunrise, listening. Nothing else called after that. In the morning, they packed and left early. He said he never went camping in that region again. The next one is the final story. This is the last and darkest one. This story wasn't supernatural in the traditional sense, which is why people found it even more disturbing. It doesn't feel like a ghost or a creature. It feels like something that exists next to us, but we're not supposed to notice it. The Anon lived on the 8th floor of a tall apartment building. His balcony window faced directly toward another identical building across the courtyard. The two buildings were so close that you could practically see into someone's room if their curtains were open. He had a habit. At night, before going to sleep, he would stand by the window for a minute or two, just looking out, letting his thoughts wander. One night, around 2 a.m., he walked to the window as usual and noticed a shape on a balcony in the opposite building. Not a person, a shape, very still, very tall, standing right at the railing, facing his direction. He blinked, thinking his eyes were adjusting to the dark, but no. The silhouette was still there, completely motionless. At first, he assumed it was maybe a clothes rack or someone left something bulky outside, but the longer he looked, the more it felt like it was looking back at him. Not moving, not shifting, not scratching or touching anything, just standing. He suddenly felt very exposed, so he turned off the lights in his room, and when his eyes adjusted again, the shape was still there. Only now it was slightly closer to the edge of the balcony, as if it had leaned forward. He stared for a few seconds, heart pounding, and then stepped back from the window, staying out of sight. After a minute of hesitation, he decided to check again, slowly from the side, so he wouldn't be visible fully. The balcony was empty, no shape, no object, nothing at all. He told himself he imagined it. He went to bed. The next night, same time, same window, same habit. He glanced outside, and the shape was back, exactly in the same place as the first time. Same posture, same frozen stillness, like it had returned to its spot. Only this time it was facing slightly sideways, as if its head had rotated a few degrees toward his window directly. He felt his stomach drop. He stepped away without turning off the lights, waited a bit, looked again, still there, not moved, not faded, just waiting. He said a terrifying thought came to him. What if it's not standing there? What if it's standing for me? What if it only exists when I look at it? On the third night, he didn't go near the window at all. He tried to ignore it, tried to sleep early, but around 2:15 a.m. he got the strongest crawling sensation that something was watching him from outside the glass. Not loudly, not dramatically, just waiting for him to look. Then came a clear, chilling realization. He didn't hear the balcony door slide open on the opposite building. He didn't hear footsteps. He didn't hear anything ever. So if it moved silently. He gathered his courage and checked the window from the very edge of the frame, and the shape was now closer, standing not near the railing, but halfway inside that opposite apartment, as if it had stepped forward, still turned toward him. Still waiting. He shut the curtains immediately and couldn't sleep until morning. He started avoiding the window altogether after that. The shape didn't appear every night after, only sometimes, but he always knew when it was there before even checking. A pressure, a heaviness, like the air itself was signaling its presence. He moved out a couple months later. The last time he ever looked, the night before leaving, the balcony across from him was empty. He said the scariest part was not what he saw, but the feeling that if he had kept looking long enough, one day it would finally move toward him.